has been I sponsor a debate on this issue, that is the new atheism and religion, or in this case, more specifically, Christianity. Fixed Point Foundation is a Christian organization that seeks to draw public attention to hot button cultural issues. And since September 11th of 2001, the new atheism and its charges against religion has been one of those issues. Interestingly, many Christians and atheists feel that their views are frequently mischaracterized in the larger cultural discussion.
Since the New World
Order. To
Order.
address this, we wanted to find individuals who represented the belief.
Right, that sounds like that's since the launch of the New World Order right there. Right, so the atheists have gone militant since the launch of the New World Order. What makes you wonder if they're really atheists or if they're just operatives? You know what I mean? They might believe in a whole nother God that they're hiding, right? You know what I mean? Kind of like the Gnostics or the Freemasons or somebody like that.
Beliefs of their respective camps. We think we have two of the very best in Richard Dawkins and.
Let's go ahead and fast forward.
5 minutes per side, because Africa, as you know, is a wonderful place to be a naturalist. Unfortunately, that's not the way it was. I never was much of a naturalist, much to my father's disappointment, I suspect. He was a very good naturalist. Seemed to have lost those doubts. Books, science.
Faith, but because of it. And I owe them an immense debt for setting me free to read everything from Marx and Russell to C.S. Lewis.
Oh, so this guy read everything. Right, let me rewind that a little bit. Because, you know, this guy over here, Dawkins, he ain't gonna say much.
Existence, why we exist. I think that religious explanations, although they may have been satisfying for many centuries, are now super.
Okay, so basically this guy's trying to say that the religious explanation is no longer valid. It's like old school now. So now, you know, atheism is all of a sudden the new school thing. And that's kind of what I was saying. It's like they literally like they're trying to launch a new age right here. I don't think everybody's really on board. I think propaganda has gone full scale in the recent couple of years. And these guys are part of a propaganda machine as far as I'm concerned. You know.
Preceded and outdated.
How can the truth be outdated? It is basically the point here, right? So science can explain everything. I think there's another. I think Lennox is the one that wrote the book talking about science can't explain everything.
I think, moreover, that they're petty and parochial, and that the understanding that we can get from science of all those deep questions that religion once aspired to.
Okay, so you're saying just through observing material matter, you can get all the explanations of everything. That's what you're trying to say right there, which is pretty much nonsense, if you ask me. I mean, how can you get an explanation for a person's conscience from observing material matter?
To explain are now better, more grandly, more in a more beautiful and elegant fashion explained by.
Okay, so I don't know if I guess religion's just ugly to you for some reason. I mean, I have no idea how beautiful science is. Really, science basically tells us that we have no purpose, and we basically evolved from animals that can't even really speak, really. I mean, they just grunt and motion to each other. You know what I mean?
By science.
Dr. Lennox?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here. Each one of us has a biography and a worldview, our set of answers to the big questions.
If you notice, this guy is a doctor. So, you know, on the stage of, you know, what these other guys try to come out with is they they view the atheist really it's very similar to the Gnostic. They view us unlearned people as just, we're just these idiots. You know what I mean? So we got to get a doctor up here, this guy John Lennox, in order to have a discussion with the atheists. You know what I mean? Because the rest of us, we're lower level people, and that's what you got to really understand when you're dealing with all the propaganda that's being pushed on you. It views you as a lower level person. You know what I mean? I mean, we're down here on the lower level, and they really want us to just go to war with each other over ideas that they push on us, right? As if we can't think for ourselves.
That life throws at us. And so a little about my biography. I'm married to Sally. We have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. I work now at the University of Oxford as a mathematician and as a philosopher of science. I was born in the middle of the last century in a country with a tragic reputation for sectarian violence, Northern Ireland. My parents were Christian, but they were not sectarian faith, but because of it, worldviews, who did not share my background and my convictions.
So I skipped ahead, but there's really something that is to be said about this guy's whatever he said involving his how do you say it? When you share your testimonial about how you came to Christ, and some of these atheists, they'll look at it as we're kind of just, our family brought us in or whatever like that. And the way that Jesus teaches is, if you look into the Bible, if a person is manipulated into coming in to the church, eventually they will fall away. So there's that. I mean, Jesus, there's a scripture that a bunch of people left, and he looked at the disciples and he said, "Are you guys going to leave too?" And they said, "No, why would we leave? You have the words of life." So if a person is manipulated into the church, eventually they will fall away, because Jesus or God will not bend to your will. He's not going to change to appropriate you. So a person's that's not necessarily a true believer, they will fall away. You know what I mean? So the manipulation of the parents, like forcing a kid to go to church, that's the only reason why he's a Christian. Eventually he's going to fall away, because he's going to want to do his own thing, and he's not going to be able to do his own thing and follow Jesus at the same time.
As a result, I developed a considerable interest in atheism, an interest which led me subsequently as an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow to study in Germany and then travel very frequently to Eastern Europe during the period of the Cold War. After the fall of communism, I went very often to the academies of science at universities in.
Okay, so I'm not really sure exactly what he means by this, but I would say that as a young person, I didn't go to a big college, but I did go to community college, and there was a period in my life where I was interested in atheism, and I took some of the classes. I took a physical anthropology class. The guy had basically monkey skulls in a glass case, and he taught us, and it wasn't really convincing. And at that time, I wasn't interested in being a Christian or anything at all. Like, I just really wanted to live my life my way. But it didn't really grasp me as being honest, as far as I was concerned, because when it came to them discussing the missing link, it's almost like they I mean, unless the teacher just didn't really teach me correctly, it's almost like they just skimmed through it. I mean, basically it was, they found some bones that they reconstructed and said it was, you know, part man or something like that, part ape. I mean, I wasn't convinced, you know what I mean? So,
Russia, to discuss and reason about these things and to see at firsthand the effect of systematic exposure to atheist indoctrination over the preceding 70 years.
oh wow, so this guy's saying he actually studied the effects of atheism. That's pretty dangerous to the system. You know what I mean? This guy, if this guy really brings it, he's a danger to the propaganda machine because they're pushing this. And if this guy is studying the effects of atheism, that's pretty big time right there.
And so I too am very privileged to live at this time and to be involved in the public discussion of these issues.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting time. I would think that that around 1900 even was probably a real interesting time. I mean, at that time, they really there was, I mean, magic, I think, was really popular in Europe at that time, and the whole Gnostic idea of God was very popular, and people were, I mean, I don't know, I didn't grow up in that time, but a lot of the stuff that's trying to make a comeback literally comes from 1900 in London and Paris and all those other places. Well, basically mainly those places is where like a foothold kind of came from, like because of the ideas that were, it was almost like I would imagine that it was popular to be some kind of magician or something.
I'm reading Richard's book.
But I mean, nowadays, I mean, wow, I mean, Christianity is really under attack nowadays because you talk to people and they really look at you like you're into some kind of primitive religion. Basically, what Richard Dawkins was trying to say there at the beginning, that Christianity is just outdated and it's primitive. And I remember sharing the gospel with people, and some guy was like, wow, you guys really believe that? You know what I mean? As if whatever he believed was far more superior to what we believe. And people actually really believe that. They believe that atheism is like the superior way. And I can't comprehend really, as far as I'm concerned. I've seen some dudes online literally would just shout Christians down and they think they won the argument.
I found absolutely fascinating because it strikes me as an impassioned crusade to warn his fellow human beings of the slavery, the oppression, and the mental and possibly physical tortures imposed on them by religion. And I actually feel a lot of sympathy for you.
Oh. He said he feels sympathy towards what's his name, Richard Dawkins. Yeah, because Richard Dawkins is, well, I mean, I don't feel sympathy for Richard Dawkins because I think Richard Dawkins is he's a hidden hand, I think. And he believes in something, dude. He's probably a Gnostic, I would imagine so. And he's not gonna reveal it because as far as I know, whatever it is that they believe, they're allowed to I mean, lying is okay. You know what I mean? There's no morality there. So they're just going to basically lie to spread propaganda against Christianity. And, I mean, according to this guy, I feel the same way. If Richard Dawkins really is being honest and is believing what he's believing, yeah, I feel sorry for him. But I think he's a deceiver as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Because if you're that knowledgeable, I mean, how do you really come to the conclusion of like the Bible is just evil, right? I could come to the conclusion of like people have misused the Bible, But if you follow the Bible correctly, I mean, I don't understand how that could be evil. You know what I mean? Like that's just, I mean, you can view us as being just naive, I guess, for following God, but to say that the Bible's evil, to say that the Bible's actually harmful is like kind of laughable, because it seems to me like you don't know what you're talking about, right? Because we're in the new covenant right now. Like I don't have to, as far as I'm concerned, I don't, it's not necessary for me to I'm not an Israelite. I'm not Jewish. So I mean, and I didn't live at that time. So as far as the Old Testament's concerned, Jesus fulfilled the Old Testament. But I mean, you're judging the Bible based upon the Old Testament. Most of these guys do. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's a whole nother time. That's a whole nother people group. You know what I mean? Like the Jews are still here. You know what I mean? It's kind of evidence that they were here. God got them through it. And they're not really Jewish people are not the most imposing people. You know what I mean? So how did they take the land? I mean, who knows really? You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. Again, it's just
on this
split.
particular point, because I myself am totally opposed to any religion that seeks to impose itself by force or that takes advantage of or abuses people in any way.
There it is. That's exactly true Christianity right there. As a Christian, you should be imposed to forcing the gospel, right? Because that's not the gospel. I mean, unless this guy Richard Dawkins is just ignorant, and the gospel was never intended to be authoritarian. You know what I mean? And basically, it's what this guy John Lennox just said. Like, if you're a Christian, you should be opposed to forcing Christianity on people or trying to make the world Christian, right? The Bible does not teach that we're going to convert the whole world. I mean, it does teach that it's God's will that the world would be converted, that the world would come to the Savior, but it never says that the whole world's going to. You know what I'm saying? Nor does it say that you should ever force somebody to believe. So, I mean, people have gotten it wrong. I mean, and people abused the Bible. The power that the Bible had, it was abused by authoritarians.
You cannot impose truth by force.
That's right.
And both of us, I think, hold that religion should be debated in a rational way as anything else.
That's right. He just basically he basically pointed out what they always use to try to debate. They're always going to try to use the Bible's evil or something to try to win the debate, right? And Richard Dawkins probably not even listening to him. I mean, and if he is, he probably knows that what he's saying is true, and he got to stick to his guns and
I share his passion for truth. Neither of us, mercifully, is a postmodern relativist, but as a passionate atheist, Richard is committed to the idea that God is a delusion. For him, ultimate reality, I take it, consists of the impersonal matter and energy of the universe. I believe the exact opposite. God, far from being a delusion, is real. Ultimate reality is a personal, eternal, and supernatural God who has revealed himself in the universe, in his word, the Bible, and supremely in Jesus Christ, his Son, who is Lord and God incarnate.
Yeah, but I don't think Richard Dawkins is really interested in your faith, though, bro. So I'm going to stop right now. Can I go back to that YouTube video? Where's it at? I gotta watch it again. So let me see history. Okay, let's go back here.
To share. So that's the part of the screen that's going to be recorded. So if you have a slide presentation or something, you would want to pull that up so you can share that on the screen or whatever it is that you're going to be recording. So I'm going to hit share down here. And right now I'm recording my screen and also sharing my screen. I'm the only participant here, but one of the things that we need to do, let me make sure you can see this, come down under more and then record on this computer. So now we are recording this Zoom presentation that is a screen share and my camera is obviously on so that you can see my camera. So if I hit, let's see, we're gonna go to stop recording, we're gonna hit stop share, and then we're gonna end.
All right, hold on. So let's go back. So let's go history. We'll go here.
God incarnate. I'm very aware that this puts me, according to Richard's book, firmly in the category of those who sit fluttering among the dovecotes of the deluded.
Damn.
I regard it as an
Okay, hold on. Okay, so back to Zoom. So if you go to, what was it? Okay, wait. So stop